All right, hello everyone, and welcome to another WNEP Sports Spotlight here on the WNEP app. Once again, thanks for joining us. We enjoy putting out these segments for everybody out there to watch and take a look at. I'm Newswatch 16 Sports Director Steve Lloyd, and we are so happy to have the head coach of the East Stroudsburg University Warriors football team, Jimmy Terwilliger, Monroe County guy, East Stroudsburg South High School grad. Jimmy, thanks for coming in. The drive-in today, perfect weather. You just finished up your exit interviews from spring football and kind of getting ready for the summer. What are the big summer plans you got ahead for yourself?
You know, you think as a football coach that you have a second to breathe, right? However, I feel like between the fundraising piece of it, the exit meetings, recruiting, and then I have a heck of a honey-do list at home for the next month. Time is a very fluid thing right now. But yeah, we finished spring practice on April 24th. We had 15 practices. It was outstanding. I love to see our guys. And now we kind of transition to May, June, July. And that's kind of the one time frame for every college athlete where it's the most time that you have to train, right? And, you know, increase the tools that you have in your toolbox between speed, strength, and ability. So we have a ton of guys on campus working around the area. And for me, it's, you know, starting the next progression of who those guys are we're going to be targeting for the 2027 class and do a ton of fundraising in between. So this is a great period of time for any college football coach.
We briefly talked about the upcoming schedule, which will kick off Thursday, August 27th. You'll be on the road at Seton Hill, and then you got Pace on the road, Slippery Rock at home, and then a bye week, and then Lackawanna, the Falcons, come in on September 26th. But, you know, talk about the schedule opening up on the road against Seton Hill and Pace, two quality opponents for you.
Tell you what, and every coach that coaches in our league will probably tell you it's like week to week to week, right? And that's the blessing of being in the Pennsylvania Conference. You're going to play the best competition in Division II football. So it starts with Seton Hill, right? And kind of our mentality has been Seton Hill, Seton Hill, Seton Hill. They play a great brand of football. Their defense is, you know, it's a live action defense. A couple years ago, they held us to a lot of turnovers when we played them away. They're a tough out, and their coach, Coach May, up there does a tremendous job. So our focus will be on being the best East Stroudsburg University can be. We have to have a great training camp, and then it's Seton Hill, Seton Hill, Seton Hill. And I learned this way, like, it's a marathon, and we're not going to look towards the end of the race. We're just going to look at the first mile that we have to run. That one's Seton Hill, and I'm excited about it. We're going to travel out there and try to get the good product on the field on Thursday night, August 28th.
Growing up, did you play any other sports besides football? Certainly your dad, Mike, had a big influence probably on you playing youth football and high school football, and then being around Coach Ed Christian for all those years, and then kind of staying home and going to ESU. But what were the youth days like for Jimmy Terwilliger?
I had a great upbringing. My mom and dad, you know, I'm very blessed. I have great parents. I got two younger sisters, and I see them all the time. I'm still the only head football coach in the world that can get grounded by his offensive coordinator, so I still see him. And I live in my hometown. But growing up, I didn't play football till I was in the 8th grade.
Okay.
My dad, you know, we were a very sports team. We are a sports family. I played soccer, I played baseball and basketball all the way up through. Then when the school developed a program at J.T. Lambert, I started. My first football coach was Chuck Daly. Who was the old head football coach at East Stroudsburg North. He's still the athletic director up there. And he introduced me to football. It was outstanding playing for him. He taught us the love of the game. And then I was able to play for Ed Christian. And God rest his soul. That man has impacted so many Cavaliers, certainly me being one of them. And I'm very blessed to have played for him. And, you know, growing up, my mom was a phys ed teacher. She's recently retired. My dad was a football coach. So, you know, we were always doing something. And if it wasn't an organized sport, it was hunting and fishing. You know, we were being in the outdoors. So, and we live in a great area for those things. So I'm very blessed to have a great childhood. Sports were a big piece of it. And it was a big piece also to my sisters. My middle sister is the head field hockey coach at Central Michigan University. She was probably the best athlete in the family. We won't say that, at a dinner table, but I could say it here. And then my youngest sister, Jackie, she played 3 sports all the way up through. And, being a part of sports allows people to be a part of a team. It teaches you perseverance, dedication, commitment, and it's pushing yourself to goals that you didn't think you could achieve by yourself. And being a part of a team sport like that has always been a great thing for me.
Do you remember when you gravitated towards becoming a quarterback? Was that always a position you wanted to play, or did somebody kind of push you into being a QB?
I think we all want to at some point. I joke with our team all the time because, like our offensive lineman will come up to us and they'll be like, "Hey, Twig, let me throw the pass." I'm like, well, we all had our quarterback days at some point. For me, my heroes have always been ESU Warrior quarterbacks, right? Like I gauge years of my life based upon who was the quarterback at East Stroudsburg. I can remember, I don't remember what year I was in first grade, but I remember in first grade Brett Comp was the quarterback, right? Like I remember in the second grade James Franklin was the quarterback, and I've always thought that position was really special. And all my heroes have always been quarterbacks. I wanted to play football since I can remember, like any other young kid, wants to go out and throw in the yard, and just so happened that the guy I got to throw to was the best offensive coordinator in Division II football, and that was my dad. So he knew a little bit about throwing, and I could grow up in an area where football was important. I was always around great role models and guys that I consider not only friends this day but also heroes to me.
Let's go back to the days of being a Cavalier and being around Ed Christian. Like you said, God rest his soul, a great man. How much did he influence you as a person on and off the field, and giving you those abilities to go out and perform and be a great quarterback in college then?
Yeah, that man dedicated his life and his passion to East Stroudsburg High School, and guys like me, and I'm just one of them, really benefited from a guy who made football and made development of his student athletes the most important thing in his life. When I met Ed, I was just an 8th grade kid that played his first year of football, and he was an icon. I remember him walking into the gym and going, wow, like it was intimidating meeting him.
Right.
He'd look at you, and when they're that age, you felt like you just wanted to play for that guy. And when I had the opportunity to, he dedicated every day of his life to something that would benefit, not only the Cavalier football but development of me. He'd come in on Saturdays, on Sundays. I could tell you war stories of driving out with him to Penn State camp, where he would drive me out there, and just to develop me as a person. And as good of a coach as he was even better a person to me. He was a career mentor. Most everything that I know in football comes from either him, Denny Dowds, or Jim Morgans. And I was blessed to not only play for him for 3 years, I coached with him for 2. And I've been a lifelong friend. And when he passed away, that left a gaping hole in East Stroudsburg, that something that they'll never replace. But his legacy will kind of move on, and the place will be a great place because of him. And I'm very blessed to have played for him.
You decide to stay home, play for your dad, play for Coach Denny Dowds. What were those experiences like? Obviously, you were probably around Denny a little bit in high school, him coming to see you play and stuff, but making that decision to go to East Stroudsburg and play football for Coach Dowds, that had to be quite an experience for you.
Well, we just got done talking about Ed, and when you look at Coach Dowds and his impact on me, that goes way beyond anything any other human being can. Here's a guy that has literally seen me from birth till today. He's still giving me updates and still giving me career advice. And he's still working to build human beings, right? So staying at home was a tough decision, right? I think, every great athlete wants to play at the highest level. Well, in 2002, I'm 5'0", 100. played in like a single wing, triple option offense. There wasn't very many recruiting opportunities that I had. I can name them probably on one hand, and one of them was East Stroudsburg. And playing for Dad and playing for Denny at the time when I was 18 was like a death sentence. And then it's funny how your death sentence becomes your dream reality. And making the decision to stay home, play for Dad, play for Coach Dowds, it could not have been any bit better for me. Not only being with two great men, but we were able to surround ourselves with some great teammates, and we had, just the most unbelievable career playing with some of the best guys that, went on to play at higher levels, guys that broke records. And, during those years, you could throw kind of the stats out. It was just so much fun playing football. I have the best friends in the world that all were my teammates. There's not a thing I wouldn't do for any one of them. And the guys that were in charge of the keys to that car were Denny Dowds and Mike Terwilliger. So I'm very blessed to have played for them. It was a great decision. Though, when I was 18 years old, that was like a death sentence, staying home and playing for Dad. But it was a great thing for me.
When we come back, we'll talk about Jimmy's 4 years at East Stroudsburg, and in 2005, winning the Harlan Hill Award, being the best player in all of Division II that season. When we come back here on the Sports Spotlight, stay with us. All right, welcome back to the WNEP Sports Spotlight. I'm Newsbot 16 Sports Director Steve Lloyd. We have alongside here with this head coach of the ESU Warriors, Jimmy Terwilliger. Jimmy, we've talked about your growing up and getting out to East Stroudsburg, and then you kick things off in 2003. You go 8-3. 2004, 10-2. You lose to Westchester twice, second round NCAA, and then that 2005 season. Roll off 11 wins, 3 losses. I think I was at the overtime loss to Bloom. I certainly was at the loss to Westchester, and then you lose to Grand Valley State in the semis. But you beat Southern Connecticut. You beat Bloomsburg. You probably remember that game. I think that was at Bloom, if I'm not correct, 52-39, and then you beat CW Post, and you go on to win the Harlan Hill Award. 17 NCAA Division II records. What a crazy year for you. I'm sure you have memories from all 4 seasons, but what kind of sticks out? Is there one particular moment in 2005 that you remember from playing and going 11-3 that year?
One particular moment, it's tough, but I do have one that kind of sticks out, and it's, if I could recreate it as a football coach, I would. And I'd make a lot of money doing it, right? And I'll give Coach Dowds the credit on this. When I played, even from 03 all the way through to 05 and 06, it was a super competitive league. It was always between us, Bloomsburg, and Westchester, right? And
right.
I don't think there was one year where where either 3 of those teams swept the whole thing, right? You'd lose to Bloom and beat Westchester. Beat Westchester, lose to Bloom. And then we were kind of in the middle. And it was like a 3-horse race there. But I can remember we had a legendary meeting coming off of Christmas break from 04 to 05. So it just happened after New Year's 05. And, you come back from Christmas break, and Coach Dowds would have us all in classroom 3. And that meeting, was a long meeting. We had to go through all of our goals, our strength and conditioning. And, Coach Dowds walked into that meeting, and something was really different. He'd come up and he'd draw the goals. And his goals were like as old as the walls, right? Be a very physical football team was number 1. Be ranked in the top 25 teams in the country, goal number 2. Goal number 3, win the Pennsylvania Conference. Goal number 4, win the PSAC. And then in the middle, he would write national championship. And that was kind of the goal and how he structured that vision. And every year that I was there, one thing about Coach, he was always very consistent. But that year, when he walked in, there was like a different thing. And he took the chalk instead of drawing the bullseye, was we were all ready to recreate, he just wrote on national champions. And like the hair on my back of my neck stood up. And I was like, wow, like we got a bunch of returning guys. We've been in the playoffs twice here. You know, we got kicked out of the playoffs the year before that. And there was something different about that meeting. And then along that line, he handed out everybody a small piece of rope. It was like everybody's got to hold rope. He gave us a story behind it. And to this day, all of my teammates have that rope somewhere. To me, it's right in my office. And it was just a reminder, like, hey, this is how we're going to get it done. And, you know, he set the tone in that meeting and gave the vision for what we thought could be achieved. And just with that team, just the work ethic day in and day out, was there one moment between that season or those seasons that stuck out? Not necessarily. We had some really crazy up and down, some wild games. But that meeting kind of set the tone. If I could recreate it, I would, Steve. Because it was really special and just kind of setting the vision of where we wanted to be. So I thought that was one moment that was important.
Besides the hundreds of teammates that you played with, there was certainly a special one. I know near and dear to you, still friends with Evan Prawl. I'm a West Scranton guy. He's a West Scranton guy. Doesn't, let me forget that. But that season, Evan, 88 catches for 1,766 yards. 23 TDs. I know you were going to go see Evan later today. He's still in the area, raising his family and I believe teaching. But wow, a guy that had hands and could get open. And you would spin it and drop it in, and Evan would normally catch it.
Well, it wasn't dropping it. It was like just put it up somewhere around his area, and he found a way. You know what, Steve? Like, Evan was one of the most unbelievable, arguably the best wide receiver to ever play, right? Like, what he was able to do athletically was unbelievable. Made me look really good. Like, I'm not sitting here today if it's not Evan Prawl. And along with Evan Prawl, he would be the first to tell you, we had Anthony Carfagno, we had Tim Strenfel, we had Ben Cole. We had a plethora of people. But the guy at the X position was Evan. Tremendous person. For as good as an athlete he is, he's a better friend and a better human being. He's the most trustworthy, honest guy. He'll tell you the truth all the time. I love him. There ain't nothing I wouldn't do for him. And I'm very blessed to have been able to play with a teammate like him. And he was daggone good. And whenever you put the ball up, there is one story I will give you that does stick out. It was our senior year, and we're playing some team, I forget who it was, and it's going back and forth, and I said, hey, Evan, where do you want me to put the ball? Because he was getting man coverage. He goes, I don't care. Just put it up in the air. And literally I took 2 steps, put it up in the air, and there was a touchdown that came out of it. That's the type of player he was, and he kind of set the tone for everybody else. So, great player, even better human being, best man in my wedding, and I love the man. Did a great job for us.
Our area basically encompasses like the Schuylkill League, out to District 4, up to the northern tier, and then obviously you have the Wyoming Valley Conference, Lackawanna Lake, EPC, et cetera, et cetera. You recruit, pretty much on a national level, different states, New Jersey, New York. You get kids from all over the place. What is your message to kids playing football now, say in the Schuylkill League, who are maybe a little undersized like you were, and Evan, coming from West Scranton, but, going on to get a great education and having a chance, to compete for national championships at a Division II level. Kids work hard every day, and they're getting ready for the high school football season coming up now. But what's your message to those kids?
First off, you guys cover such an immense area, and maybe the most fruitful area in recruiting, right? Like Northeast Pennsylvania, between the northern tier down to Schuylkill, down to EPC, there's so many great football players, and it's been kind of reflected in our team. When you look at our team, we are heavily Northeast Pennsylvania, and the reason for that is that it is a very blue-collar football. You're going to get coached by guys who run good programs. So when you come to East Stroudsburg, it's not like a culture shock on, hey, what the weight room is, how do you work. People can be coached and coached hard, and we're going to coach them hard. And that's why people from this area really match well with the type of program that East Stroudsburg has. There's very similar core values there. My message to people may be on that undersized or this, that are being recruited. College football, or football in general, is a very short piece of your life. And it's going to be some of the most polarizing. It's going to be some of the most fun times in your career. So go to some place that, you feel great, that people want you, people that believe in you. And that was my story. My dad obviously believed in me, and Coach Dowds believed in me. There every reason not to believe in me. And if you go to some place that believes in you, you have your academics, it fits your personality, it fits what you value. If you know what you value, know what's important to you, there are no tough decisions. And in college football, I think sometimes we put the cart ahead of the horse. What has the shiniest toys? Well, when Evan and I get together, we don't celebrate how nice the locker room was at East Stroudsburg. Although we don't say how great East Stroudsburg was because of the new shiny Under Armour jerseys and, the new stadium lights and all that stuff that seems to be more important nowadays in the recruiting bid than just when I get together with Evan Prawl. Do you remember that time? And it's more about the people versus the bricks in the building. So as you're looking at places, look at the people. The nice thing about East Stroudsburg, to everybody in Northeast Pennsylvania, I'm a homegrown guy. I've been there my entire life. My dad is our offensive coordinator, been there since 1974. Our offensive line coach is a 94 grad. Our defensive coordinator is a 13 grad. Our defensive backs coach is a 19 grad. And these are warriors developing the next warriors. And when you have that consistency over eras, you can relate to the university that you get to. And sometimes, what makes a school different than another school? We're all kind of splitting hairs, right? Put the microscope away for a second and look at the hairs that you're splitting and take a look at the telescope and what do you want down at the end? And to me, lifelong relationships, memories that last your lifetime, and education that can get you on track to where you want to be. I think we got a great thing. I don't have to sell it to very many people because I lived it. And when you get there, you can kind of feel that energy when you get down to East Stroudsburg.
Winning the Harlan Hill Award, how did you find out about it? Do you remember? Was it a phone call, a text? Did somebody come up to and tell you that you won?
No. Back in the day, they would take there was regional rankings, so you would be nominated through your region, top regional players. Then it would get down from 25 to maybe 16. And then it would go down to the national level. And the three finalists for the Harlan Hill, the final three, would get invited to Florence, Alabama for a week-long.
So you found out down there?
Yeah.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
We went down there. I could tell you stories of that trip with Coach Dowds that might burn this place down. But yeah, no, I found out it was in Florence, Alabama. They do it. I don't know how they do it now. I think they do it online now.
Okay.
But they put together a heck of a program. There was a banquet we did. We attended some children's hospitals. There was a parade. It was tied in with the national championship game. So I found out down there at a banquet for the Harlan Hill.
Congratulations.
Well, I appreciate it. It was kind of a different time in my life because the week before I received the Harlan Hill Award, I had just got done losing in the national semifinals. So I was a little bit edgy that we weren't playing in the national championship.
Understandable, right.
And but at the same token, it was a great team award. And that offense that played in 05 from top to bottom was a group of guys that really loved each other. And the numbers reflected that.
Well, when we come back, we'll talk to Jimmy more about how he transitioned from playing football as a quarterback to then getting into coaching, starting out at the high school level. When we come back here on the Sports Spotlight, stay with us. All right, welcome back to the WNEP Sports Spotlight. Head coach Jimmy Terwilliger. Jimmy, graduation happens. You win the Harlan Hill Award, and then you want to get into coaching. You went back to East Stroudsburg South with Ed Christian for a little bit, and then you took the head job at Pleasant Valley in 2009, and you were there through 2013 with the Bears. Mm-hmm. I know going down past Pocono, down 115 and headed to many of your practices and games. That was a little different for you. You were now in charge and kind of running the show and just taking all those experiences from everybody that taught you the game of football and trying to help the kids at PV.
Yeah, well, my road to get to Pleasant Valley was unique. So I finished playing and I had to do my student teaching. I knew I wanted to get into coaching. I figured out I wanted to be a health and phys ed teacher, and I wanted to be a high school football coach. And so when I graduated, unbeknownst to me, I was invited with the Minnesota Vikings to rookie mini camp. So here I am trying to make the NFL, and when I found out I wasn't good enough to play in the NFL, I immediately went on the coaching search. It was kind of late in the game. And Coach Christian and some of the people at East Stroudsburg helped me secure a health and phys ed job. And I worked for 2 years for Ed. And I was like a sponge. Probably had the best job in the world. I was the head junior varsity coach. And I attacked the junior varsity those years like it was like we were playing for state. And I had rankings, I had statistics. Ed's like every Monday night it was a live action deal. But I wanted to be a head football coach, and in 2009, the job at Pleasant Valley became available, and a man by the name of Doug Arnold had reached out to me, said, "Would you be interested in this job?" And to be honest with you, I didn't know my rear end from my elbow in head coaching. I just kind of knew what Ed knew and how Denny did it. So I put my name in for the position. And was gracious enough to accept that job, and I didn't know a thing, Steve. And I just knew I surrounded myself with a bunch of guys that I knew in coaching. Matt Triolo was our wide receivers coach. He's now the principal of East Stroudsburg High School. David Beaver was our offensive line coach. He's the head coach at Wilkes. Dave Pacchione is a principal in the Wyoming area district. All three guys played with. Kevin Nagel was an All-American. Greg Bowman played at East Stroudsburg. And I surrounded myself with guys that kind of knew more than me. And I learned more lessons in those 4 years, 5 years at Pleasant Valley. And they were great 4 or 5 years. I really enjoyed it. Learned how to be a coach. And every coach will tell you, like, you learn the do's, but you also learn the don'ts. And sometimes those lessons are more important. It was great 5 years at PV, Steve. I really missed that place.
You go from high school back to college, near and dear to your heart, back to East Stroudsburg, learning under your father, learning under Denny, and then you eventually took over in 2019. Talk about that transition back to college.
That transition was a little bit different than the first one. That was my teaching position was furloughed from Pleasant Valley. So I had been teaching and coaching at Pleasant Valley. And in 2013, the school district furloughed our teaching positions. And my daughter was just born in that year, so she was 1 year old. And my wife is a cystic fibrosis survivor. She's a double lung transplant survivor. So between her health condition and my daughter, I needed to find a teaching job. So there's actually not very many people know this, in between Pleasant Valley and going back to East Stroudsburg, I worked 1 year at Parkland High School. And I went down to taught at Ironton Elementary and coached for Jim Morgans as an assistant. It was a great year for me. The travel for me was very difficult during that time. My wife's health had really deteriorated in that year. And we were listed on the transplant list in 2015 and 16. So traveling back and forth from the Lehigh Valley every day became very tough, for my family. And that very year, Coach Dowds called me up. He said, "Hey, there's a position available." It was like July 15th or 16th, right before the season. And, I made the decision, hey, let's go back to my alma mater because it was closer to home. I could take care of my family with people. And, It was a defensive backs position, so a little bit different for me. But I came back to East Stroudsburg. I never thought I'd be coaching college football. I always wanted to be a high school football coach. And when Denny retired in 18, you guys know the story. He called the fourth timeout and walked off the field.
Across the
he
field.
Walked across the field and named me the head football coach. And I'm very thankful. Now I break his chops all the time. And Coach, if you're watching or listening, you said you wanted to do it without taking some credit for leaving, but then ESPN did a story on it, and he's just a special guy. And he wanted whoever took over it to be about them. And he didn't want to do a big, he's got more wins in the Pennsylvania Conference than anybody. So he didn't want the old carousel of games. He wanted to do it quickly, and I can appreciate that. So that's how that transition went down, Steve.
Let's go to 2023. 9-3 that season. You lose in the NCAA first round to Slippery Rock. 10-2 in 2024. Another first round loss to Cal. 8-3 last year. You lose to number 3 Kutztown. Won't mention the score, but
keep that one. Keep that one on the back burner.
The Bears seem to have it rolling. I'm a Kutztown alum. When I was there, football was not what it is today, but that's certainly a standard where you want to get your program to, where Kutztown is right now.
Listen, that's just that great competitors, got to find a way to be the best, right? And right now, Kutztown has been the top team in the Pennsylvania Conference. So we're right there, but being right there ain't gonna cook the dinner on them. So we have to be able to do what we need to do. I'd like to back up a little bit. The records that you gave us on the last 3 years. I mean, in the last 3 years, we've won more games at East Stroudsburg than any 3 years combined in the history of our school. We had 27, 28 wins. However, the 3 years building up to those are probably the most formidable years. And I don't want to forget about, the 2019 team, the 2021 team, the 2022 team, whose records weren't 9-2, 10-2, 8-3. Those guys were 500 or below 500. And what we did during those years was we developed a recruiting and a culture. We made some tough decisions. We didn't take one transfer for the 3 years just to be able to build a recruiting class that we could recruit, retain, and develop and build a culture. So we forget about those 3 years previous, and those 3 years are building years. And those teams really set the tone. And now here we sit. Last year we were 8-3. And that's the challenge that we have is there would be years that I saw my right arm off to go 8-3. But I feel like 8-3 at this point in time, we haven't done enough. And that's the blessing and the burden of success. We have to do better. We have to find creative ways to recreate ourselves, and we have to go from good to great. And we got to win meaningful games down the season. And you're right. When you're not the top dog, the hungriest dog's going to have to eat. And we better be pretty good, through May, June, and July to win games in September, October, and November.
Former East Stroudsburg quarterback James Franklin, now down at Virginia Tech. How much do you talk with Coach Franklin, and what do the Hokies have now with him at the helm?
I tell you what, James is a great family friend. He's an East Stroudsburg warrior. He is a national icon, a hero to a lot of warriors, and a guy that just loves his university, loves coaching football, loves football more than anybody that I know with football. He's been a great mentor to me. I try not to bug him on things, but James is that guy where when he says something, I'm going to listen. But when James says, hey, this is what we're doing, this can help you, he helps me in more ways than you can imagine, just with teaching, what he knows and back and forth. And he's always done that before Virginia Tech, before Penn State, before Vanderbilt, before Maryland. That's who he's been all the way up through. Virginia Tech got a guy that loves ball. He's a ball of energy. I don't know another human being that eats, sleeps, and breathes football like James Franklin. He loves his players unconditionally. you can see that and you can feel that. And the players that play for him will tell you that. And he's a guy that, will outwork any of his opponents. And when you look at it, I think it was a home run hire for Virginia Tech. James Franklin is outstanding. The job that he did at Penn State, was unbelievable, and now he has the opportunity to do it at Virginia Tech. I'm proud to share the Warrior Brotherhood with him. I'm thankful for his relationship and all he's done for us, and I wish him the best of luck at Virginia Tech.
Yeah, you can see the development in the kids from the recent NFL draft class. A kid like Zakee Wheatley, Dom DeLuca, down with the Ravens, and I mean, you go to the running backs with Singleton and Katron. I mean, he's developed players ever since he stepped onto campus at Penn State.
Yeah, when he took that job, I think it was like 13 or 14. And he was taking over a program that was, there was some tough times for Penn State, and what he was able to do was get them on the national spotlight. People don't remember, but like last year at this time, he was a favorite or one of the favorites to win the national championship, right? And it's how the ball rolls. You get a couple injuries here, the ball bounces a couple. It's the way it goes, and at that level, the error or the margin of error is very small. It could go one way or the other way, and it went one way. And he found himself in a great position at Virginia Tech, and somehow, some way, all things will work out for good people. He's a good man. He's a good human being. I wish him the best of luck.
Jimmy, I'm always searching out information and video and stats and stuff. So I was on the East Stroudsburg University website, esu.com, edu, whatever it is. It's a great site. A lot of stats and information on there. Just going to throw out some numbers from 2003 to 06. You finished with 14,350 yards passing. You ran for 1714 and a total of 148 TDs passing. I know some of those numbers still stand today. Just a great career. You're coaching now. What's the future hold for you as a coach, and where do you want to go from here?
Yeah, I'm trying to bring something to East Stroudsburg that's never been done, right? And in our conference, it's my goal to bring East Stroudsburg University football back to the national spotlight, and I want to win a national championship. And as a player, we got pretty daggone close. The gap between some of the Midwest schools and the Eastern schools, right now is pretty wide. At East Stroudsburg, I'm awarded 11 scholarship equivalencies versus the 36 that we're going. We need to work to get to, close that margin because I do believe there's great football here. I'm not going to sleep until we get East Stroudsburg to what it is. In terms of like things that I want to do, I just want to make the Warrior football nation proud. These are all my friends. It pains me when we are not successful. It pains me to a point. I don't know of any other head coach that has those types of pains where they're your best friends. I've let them down. So it's a driving factor for me. I want our Warrior Nation to be very proud of that. I'm a part of them. I want them to have a product that they can look every Saturday or Sunday morning and say, hey, my alma mater's doing well. I'm proud of this place. I won't sleep till that gets done. And then, I owe it to our team, and our team is relying on me to make great decisions, to put our guys in positions to win Pennsylvania Conference championships, get us back into the playoffs, and be able to win. And I'm going to relentlessly approach that. I'm excited about it. I got a great staff, guys that have been with us for a while, good people, have great families. And as long as we can keep doing that, with our core values of work hard, compete, do it right, I feel like we can attain, what we're trying to do. And this year we need to take a step, and once we take that step, then we'll be recreating and doing it again. And some of those challenges are very difficult to do, even more difficult than climbing the hill. So I'm excited about that.
Well, all of us here at WNEP, we wish you and your team the best. Thanks for providing us all those great memories, almost 20 years ago and still being around today, helping out the youth and coaching at East Stroudsburg. We really appreciate you coming in, Jimmy, and spending some time with us.
I appreciate what you guys do for our local area and for Northeast Pennsylvania. This is my first day in the studio. You're showing me around. I have great memories of my childhood turning on, even from watching the weather to see if school was being out. I'm not sure if kids do that anymore, put on the news station to see if their school is canceled, or the following us through sports and everything you've done. Thank you for involving us at East Stroudsburg and my family.
Appreciate that, Jimmy. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great night. Thanks for joining us here on The Spotlight. We'll be back next week with more interviews, new guests, and we enjoy bringing this show to you each and every week. Have a good night.